Alright, today we're going to learn about the Type 6 phaser and the Type 8 phaser. The Type 6 phaser is used on some of the old vessels like the Miranda, which you see before you, and then the Type 8 phasers were used on smaller craft like the Federation Fighter and the Maquis Raider. Okay, we're going to find out about the Type 6 and Type 8 phasers. And so how we're going to do that is we're going to look at some of the constants we had before, which is the um, polar ion beam weapons seen on the Jim Kadar fighter. We've seen them destroy runabouts in 2 shots. It means the runabout's defensive capability is 130,000 terawatts. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the runabout, and we're going to remember the runabout carries Type 6 phaser. So we need to figure out what the value of the Type 6 phaser is. And so what we're going to do is we're going to look at things that it's attacked and things that we know that have a shield value that we know about. And that would be, that's right, the fighter. The Federation fighter has a defensive capability of 20,000, and the reason we know that is because when it was attacking the Cardassians, a Cardassian polar-ion beam weapon was able to take it out in 2 shots, and that weapon is 10,000 terawatts. So that means that vessel is 20,000 watts shields. Uh, so what we can do is we can take that rationale, we can look how many times did it take the runabout to take down the shields of that vessel. The answer is 3. So once we divide 20,000 by 3, then we can find out what the Type 6 phasers are doing. And then the next step is once we figure that out, then we have to we could remember an episode that we've seen in Star Trek Deep Space Nine. How many hits did it take down the shields of the runabout from the fighter? Well, the fighter has a Type 6 phaser and has a Type 8 phaser cannon on it. So the the phaser hit the vessel twice, so then you'd take 130,000 minus it by 2 shots from a Type 6 phaser, and then once you get that data point, then all you gotta do is divide it by 4. Is because in the episode, the vessel shot many times at the runabout, but when you slow it down and watch it, only 4 of the beams actually hit. And so once you divide those by 4, that'll tell you what the power level is of a Type X phaser. Now, one of the interesting things about this is when I did this, I didn't realize how incredibly powerful the Type X phaser was. It was somewhere around of 29,000 something. Um, so that's a lot of power. And then I started thinking to myself, why are most of the ships using Type 9 phasers, which are only 10,000, when this is 29,000? And why is it on the little fighter craft? And then I started thinking about it some more. I'm like, and also it's on the Maquis vessel. And then I realized, you know what? I thought about Deep Space Nine, and I remember that there is a vessel that is part of a Maquis ship and then part Voyager. And so it was one of these ships that was built is just like smashed together for the war. And I always wondered why it was armed with Type 8 phasers. And now it makes sense. And it also makes sense why the fighters have Type 8 phasers and why these small attack vessels, which with the um, uh, I forgot these little Bajorian people that are on here, the Maquis, sorry, do. And it makes sense because those ships are a uh, Starfleet vessel or a Federation vessel, sorry, and were designed to defend planets on the outer rim. So it is a warship. It's just a really old one, and it makes sense because that ship's not made for long range, and it's made to fight in groups. And the same thing with the fighter. The fighter's not made for long range, and it's made to make fast hit and runs. And so it also noticed that in Next Generation and in Deep Space Nine, anything that's using the Type 8 phasers is always fighting in extreme close range. And so I think it'd be safe to assume that the Type 8 phaser, though it's quite powerful, it has an extremely short range. And if it has an extremely short range, that would make sense why most starships are using Type 9 phasers, because it would be better for Type 9 to be better than Type 8s, because Type 8s are such close range. You most of the time you could probably take out your targets or stay out of the target range by using Type 9s because they have such further range. It's something like 150,000 kilometers is the range, between 150 to 300,000, 200,000, somewhere around those numbers. And then this thing is probably maybe 15, 20,000 range. And so, I mean, you just have to be up really, really close. It's like the Klingon disruptors. You have to be really close for those weapons too, which kind of falls in line because the disruptors are typically more higher output than the phasers, but they lack the range. So I just wanted to let you guys know. So that's basically how I was able to find out what the Type 8 was like, and then what the Type 6 was. What do you think?